Have you ever opened a Microsoft Excel worksheet only to find the content structure difficult to interpret? Perhaps it contains irrelevant entries or needs too much scrolling to navigate. In this video, you'll learn how to use Excel's sort and filter features to organize content so you can read and identify data quickly and efficiently. Over at AdventureWorks, the company checks its inventory data for records related to a specific supplier. However, the Excel file that contains the data is poorly structured and difficult to navigate. AdventureWorks needs your help to sort and filter the information so that only the supplier's data is visible. Before you begin helping AdventureWorks, let's examine the concepts of sorting and filtering in Excel. Excel offers users a series of sort and filter commands. These commands change the position of data in the worksheet window so that it's easier to understand. In other words, they don't change the data, they change how it's displayed. It's also important to remember that the sort and filter commands are not the same. They work on data in different ways. You need to understand these differences to prevent any misreading of the data. Let's begin with the sort feature. The sort feature is found in the sort and filter group in the data ribbon. This feature reorders the worksheet by physically moving rows into new positions. To return the data to its original position, you must use the undo command. However, if a sort was not your last action, you may inadvertently reverse other steps. You should also be careful if saving your workbook after applying a sort. Once your changes are saved, the sort order applied to the data is permanent, and an undo is no longer possible. Now that you're familiar with the sort feature, let's focus on filtering. Filtering refines the data displayed based on the criteria of your choosing. However, unlike with sort, the rows are not repositioned. Instead, Excel hides all the rows that don't match your chosen criteria. This leaves a subset of rows visible. This subset can be reduced further by applying more filters. Let's learn more about how these actions work by helping AdventureWorks restructure its inventory Excel file. The AdventureWorks inventory Excel file is currently sorted by category. You need to restructure it using the sort and filter commands. Access these commands from the sort and filter group in the data ribbon. The sort ascending and sort descending commands are shortcut choices. When you select one, Excel checks the location of your cursor. It then uses the column in which the cursor is located as the key for the sort. Place your cursor on column B, which is the date entered column. Then select sort ascending, which is now called oldest to newest. The rows are now organized in date order. Excel interprets dates as numbers, so it has performed a numeric sort. Had you placed the cursor in the supplier column, Excel would have performed a text-based sort. You can select undo on the title bar to restore the previous row order. AdventureWorks has requested that the data be sorted by supplier, the data in column D, and that the most recent entry is visible first within each block of supplier data. Sorting by the supplier and then sorting by the date won't work here because one sort would cancel out the other. Instead, you need to perform a multi-level sort. This technique lets you sort data in two ways simultaneously. First, from the sort and filter group of the Data tab, select the Sort button to open a Sort dialog box. At the top right of the dialog box, you need to confirm that there's a tick in the My Data has Headers box. This instructs Excel to exclude the first row from the sort. Next, use the drop-down menu under Column to instruct Excel to perform the first sort by supplier. You can retain the defaults of Sort on Cell Values and Sort A to Z. Then select the Add button to display additional sort fields. Use these fields to configure the second sort level by data entered. Again, retain the defaults of Sort on Cell Values, but change the order to newest to oldest. Then select OK to exit the dialog box and sort the data as required. You have now sorted the data by supplier and date entered. Select Undo on the title bar to reverse the sort. Next, AdventureWorks needs you to filter the records to view only the data related to the supplier called Cycles As. The first step when filtering is to turn on the filtering feature. Select the Filter button on the Sort and Filter group of the Data tab to add filter arrows to each column heading. You can now filter the data using the arrows next to each heading to open drop-down lists. Each filter arrow also has an additional sub-menu to allow for more precise filtering. Excel recognizes the type of content in the column and generates context-sensitive choices such as equals, does not equal, begins with, and more. Select the arrow next to the supplier column heading to display a list of suppliers. A tick mark beside an entry indicates that its rows are currently visible. Remove the tick marks next to list entries except for cycles as, then select Apply. Excel hides all other rows in the worksheet so that only the cycles as data is visible. There are now only 10 rows visible in the sheet, all of which relate to cycles as. You can confirm this by checking the bottom left of the Excel screen. Here it states that 10 records were found. Select the arrow next to the unit price to apply another filter from the drop-down. Put a tick in the box to the left of item 7. Then select the Apply button. The filter only works on the 10 visible records. So you have now displayed only rows where cycles as is the supplier and 7 is the unit price. You might ask yourself, how do I know if data has been filtered? In Excel, there are two ways to determine if data has been filtered. The first is to check the filter arrow to the right of the column heading. If there is a funnel symbol on the filter arrow, then your list is filtered. The other method is to check for breaks in the sequence of row numbers on the left-hand side of the display area. For example, a row sequence of 8, 9, 112 indicates that rows 10 to 111 have been filtered out. So how can you remove filtering to make other data visible again? In the column header, select the arrow or arrow and funnel symbol. Then select the Clear Filter option from the drop-down menu to clear a specific filter while retaining the others. You can also select the Clear choice in the Sort and Filter group of the Data tab to clear all filters. You've now removed all filters and restored the full data display. Thanks to your help, AdventureWorks has the inventory data it needs, and you should now be familiar with using the sort and filter actions to organize and identify data quickly and efficiently. Well done.